Friday night, it's the end of the month, and I want you to know, I will just say, it's been wild and crazy busy. Black History Month with the family. 4 sons, now it's time for the wife, the queen of the house. You know there's no strife. Pisces season, a Pisces time, Pisces moon, and a Pisces type of rhyme. Creative with the flow, and that's the way I go. And I want to introduce my favorite Pisces, yo. Owner of SabaliPure, organic and vegan skincare, that's Madura or Demure. If you know, then maybe you should giggle as I rhyme with the show. The intro's dope, the lyrical quote. I jump off the top rope and I got a note. This hip-hop quotable is lyrically floatable. Can't you see? I'm a proud father be, and you better watch the podcast of my 4 sons be. And now I introduce to you wifey, my soulmate. Never hesitate or levitate. When we met, it was the right date. So tonight you're going to see how she brands to be. Spiritual business, here she comes, see. Yeah, the Mercury in Pisces. That means she's creative through the 7 seas. And she can sing. What can I bring? Ring the alarm. And you know that I sting with these hot bars from here to Mars. I give competition lyrical scars. But I am so happy tonight because I end this month off and I'm doing it right. Knowledge. Oh my gosh, you guys.
All right. Yay!
Yes.
Okay,
Tonight.
so I'm in a different room from you.
Yes, but let me introduce you. Tonight on episode 311 of my Knowledge is Love Astrology podcast, I have a very special guest. She is the owner and founder of SabaliPure, organic and vegan body and skincare. She is a mother or creative. She has built up and helped branded about 4 different businesses, and she's currently helping and assisting 2 others and many more with her spiritual branding business. We will get to meet and learn all about Miss Allana Taylor. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Yay! Thank you. I am excited to be here. And yeah, it's a little bit different being in a separate room from you.
Well,
And you know what? I decided because I do things here and I never do my singing bowl, that I figured I was going to start and get us in the right mind frame tonight. So let's get started with some singing bowl action.
I love this. You see, a guest that comes prepared, and I didn't even know she was going to do this, you guys. This is awesome.
This is for the
I
heart.
love it. Integrate the energy of this Pisces new moon, you guys. Just vibrate from your heart with compassion, love, and empathy.
Just take that in for a second and just really feel that for a minute. Just breathe for a second. Yeah. I just want to guide and just have a really great conversation tonight, and hopefully, inspire. Not just, oh my gosh, go figure.
The children.
It's my son, right when I do this. They always do this.
That's okay.
Yes, Mateus, I am starting my podcast and you're interrupting it. What's going on?
I'm sorry. I was going to ask if we could have a sleepover Valentine's Day. Please?
I will say yes, but let me call you in about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.
I didn't put the phone, and this was the thing. I almost put the phone on Do Not Disturb, but as a parent, you don't ever want to put
You can't do it when your children are out of the house.
Do not disturb when your kids are not around you, because you never know what they could be.
So let me start off with that, because not only are you an entrepreneur, You're a mother of 4 sons. You successfully helped raise one that's out of the house now. I've interviewed all 4 of our sons on a podcast
Mhm.
this month in honor of Black History Month, and I'm so glad that I did. It's been such an amazing experience. But, explain to, especially for the women out there who are entrepreneurs or just work a 9 to 5, how in your own heart and mind do you kind of balance it all? Because I'm your husband and I watch you do it, and I'm in awe of how you can multitask. And just so you guys know, men, we cannot multitask as well as women. It is a special gift that they have. So share with the audience how you manage and do it all, because I think it's extremely impressive.
Well, first and foremost, you have got to give yourself grace. Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, can we do it almost all? And you know what? I'm not going to tell anybody that you can do it all, because we can't. The reality is, if you really want to go after one particular thing, something else is going to have to take a little bit lesser of a role of importance, right? And I think it's important because we get these messages sent to us of like, oh yeah, mom, you should be the CEO. You should be the great lover at home. You should be the great mother. You should be the great friend. You should be like, and they just get, and the list just gets longer and longer and longer. And the reality is, we're human and we can only do so many things at any one time at a high rate. And then other things are going to have to fall off. So, first and foremost, grace. Okay, guys, let's give, yes, I want to give a round of applause to every last mother. And, I'll even give it to the fathers who are out there really being involved, elevated fathers and men in general. Like, I want to give it to all of us because we all have to have some props, but we have to have some grace. So for us ladies especially, we have to have grace, and we have to understand that our time is not necessarily going to equate to somebody else's time, because our life is in this constant rhythm and flow that comes around and around. And there are times when I'm going to be at a really high level of putting out and being major creative. And then there's times where that might be a little bit lower, but it's all good.
No, that's perfectly said. And I think it's also being honest and sincere, because I think
Mhm.
putting that pressure on yourself, that, like living up to like a magazine or living up to this or that, it's not always fair, right? You know what I mean? It's not realistic and it's not always fair. And I think women are put to these unreachable standards sometimes that can create depression or the lack of accomplishing anything. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and
And
I
you know
think
what? Sorry.
no, and I think you've handled that over the years so well, because you also had to juggle, for you, not all women, but for you specifically, you had to juggle starting a business while taking care of your mother-in-law and your husband sick, and then having 2 children sick in the hospital and ICU. So, that in itself, I think, is something that could be commendable. Why don't you say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll get
Hello,
kind of going
hello,
with that.
hello. Taria, my love, one of my dearest, dearest friends is here. So good to see you. Yes, we do need to have a dance party at our house.
Oh, and
And
thank you everybody for wishing her a happy
yes,
birthday.
thank you. Thank
You
you.
had a
Thank you.
great
My
birthday,
birthday was
right?
on Wednesday. And I am transitioning out of and building up into a space where I'm allowing for people to acknowledge and love on me. And I was loved on. And so thank you. Let me see. Alette Unique's Understanding. Hello. You were the very first person here. Thank you for coming. Mwah, Ashe. And let's see, Chocolate 29. Nice to see you here. Thank you. Mama Miss, I saw you hop in here a little bit ago. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Danny Figueroa, what's up, homie?
Thank you guys for
And
coming. Yeah.
let's see. So, yes, those are the people that I see at this point. Thank you so much for being here. So thankful that you're here. I was going to say something and then I totally forgot. So,
Well,
here.
I was kind of inferring and asking about, at the time when you started your first business in terms of organic and vegan body skincare, Crunch Naturel, you were still coming off of, I was starting to get a little bit better then, but the reality is you were taking care of your mother-in-law, you were taking care
Yeah.
of your husband, you had 4 sons, and, but you created a brand and a business with a partner that you had about, what, 30 products from head to toe?
Yeah, it was a really, really crazy, crazy time. And yes, did I have a ton on my plate? Abso-freaking-lutely. Like sometimes I look back on some of the things that we've been through and I'm like, how on earth did we survive that?
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say is the way I was able to start it was I needed to. It was like at that point in time, how many people here understand like you when you're outputting for everybody and you're almost getting to that space where you're getting angry because you're like, what's up? I keep giving and who's giving to me? So that's how I felt because I was taking care of kids can love us but they can't give back to us. My husband at the time was sick. My mother-in-law, definitely, she was ill. So I was giving. And so when I had the opportunity to get into formulating, to get into building a brand that was all my own. Yes, was it work? Yes, but it was me and it was something that was totally mine, nobody else's. And it was like this lifeline that gave me an opportunity to dip back into a creative space that I had kind of just ignored for the longest time. So that was really, really fabulous. Hey, Will, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. You know, so when we got into that, I got to return to me, and that was really freaking cool.
Yeah, and it made me so happy because not only did I get to see you light up, but I
Mhm,
saw the passion come back in your eyes. Because when we met and first started dating,
mhm.
back when I put you number one on MySpace,
Oh, I
remember?
remember too. I was like, "Ooh, I got the number. I'm coming for that number 1 spot." Ah.
And and other ladies got a little jelly that she got that number one
Mhm.
spot, but I had to tell them, hey, this is who she is. She's number one, and nobody else matters anymore. But all jokes aside, and I mean that's real. But I think you shared with me and on your MySpace, and this is why I bring it up, your poetry. You
Mm,
are
yeah.
very talented writer as a poet. You can sing. And Allana, you guys, she's the Pisces sun and Mercury has the Sag moon and the Taurus rising. But the Mercury and Pisces, which we have joked about on the show, but it also on the positive side, it is why she makes, and I want you to hold up some of these beautiful products, such amazing, body, organic, vegan, and body skincare that is beautiful, her packaging. So tell us conceptually, what were you going for when you envisioned, and how did you see it in your mind to bring it to reality of Sabali Pure?
Well, Sabali came out of honestly, Sabali came out of a lot of hardship and frustration. Taria was actually there when my old business was breaking down. She was actually helping. She kind of was like part business guru, part like psychologist, part mediator. Cause like when your
Definitely
business
mediator.
gets up and you're in a partnership, it's like a divorce. And so we were going through a divorce and we had some little mean little tussles and it was like
Oh, it
so
got ugly. It got
yeah,
ugly.
yeah, it did, unfortunately, but you know what, everything comes around full circle, you understand what I'm saying? And so like to me, even in that, I got so much of a lesson and a blessing out of it that it was just like like I'm so glad that I mean, it's unfortunate it happened that way, but I'm so glad that it happened because it enriched me. So, what I was getting at is that Sabale was really out of a place of like frustration and pain. And so, with that, I was like, okay, I'm really mad. And I've wanted to do all these creative things. And sometimes when you're in a partnership, you kind of like hold back certain things. And I was doing that for a while. And so Sabali was just like, I'm going to make everything the way that I want to. And I'm going to elevate it and elevate it and elevate it and do everything that I want and need, like that was in my heart to do. And so SabaliPure was really that. The name itself, that, as you know, it came from
Pain.
pain. um, Eric and I had decided that we were going to move from New York, and like weeks before we were going to move, I don't know,
No, no, it was in January.
in
I was due to
January,
have a
but we
second
had
wrist
started.
surgery, and I
There was
fell
something.
and I
Hmm.
fell on black ice a week coming back to school from winter break, and I fractured the tib and fib, and I was in so much
Hmm.
pain. What got me through it, because I couldn't even go upstairs. We lived in a brownstone in New York City,
Hmm.
and Alana and William were sleeping upstairs. Elijah and my grandmother and my mother, the kid's
Hmm.
grandmother, was downstairs. And then Alana's dad came to town, but she was so sick because she was sick with a pregnancy. I broke my ankle. We wound up losing the baby. All this stuff was going on.
Yeah.
But what got me through was a song by Nas and Damian Marley called Sabali, which means patience, and Bambara in Mali.
Bambara, yes, which is
Yeah.
spoken in Mali. And so when I was going through this breakup of the business, I came back to that name because, as Eric had mentioned, we were separate not we weren't separated, but we were separated in that he could not come upstairs to our bedroom because his ankle was broken, and climbing 19 steps was not going to be something he could do. And I was upstairs, and I was very, very sick. I was in the early stages of a pregnancy that we would end up losing, and I was extremely sick. Like any little smell, I was vomiting. I mean, it was like I don't even know
It
what
was
happened, but
it was
so
really
like
tough.
we were in this space where he was downstairs, I was upstairs just sick. And this song, Sabale,
Uh,
Patience, was just, we played it and played it and
and
played it.
played it.
And while I was pregnant, I had thought, maybe this will be, because we had wanted to have a daughter. We had at that time 2 sons, and we thought we would have a daughter. And I was like, maybe Sabali will be her name. That's fabulous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we ultimately did not ever have a girl. And so when it came time for making this new brand, I was like, I never got to have that girl. Let's name this venture Sabali,
Yeah.
Patience, because when I thought about nature, I thought to myself, not only has nature had to be patient with us humans doing all these humany things, um, we as people, we're so rushed. We're always wanting like that quick fix, that Botox to make the wrinkles go away, that thing to suck the fat out. There's that, whatever it happens to be, fast, 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 fast. And it's like, no, 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 we gotta slow down. And Sabali is about patience. And I was like, what a perfect name for a natural body care line.
And you need to be
Because
patient, right? When you're healing naturally,
yes.
it isn't the quick
Mhm.
fix, but it's the slow, steady wins the race, because you're healing and fixing at the same time, correct?
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, that's what this was born out of. And as I began, just like I'm a really big, I am really big on brainstorming, and I like writing down different ideas. And I'm just writing, like, I'm like elements, and I'm like days, and night, and all these different things. And I just started writing all these different things in the seasons. And so before you knew it, I was like, well, and I started coming up with lip balm names. I was like, "Ooh, seasons. You know what? There's 4 seasons. I could come up with 4 lip balms, because you don't want to have too many or too little." And I was like, 4, I could do that. And that's how the seasons for the lip balms came in to play. And I was like, but I got to make this really, really cool. So each of the seasons actually align with a fruit that comes to season, or a thing like hot tea in the fall, kind of thing that was inspiring me
Well, go
that
through
way.
each one
And
and
actually
just
pomegranate is in the fall as well, so yeah.
okay, but
Um,
go through each one and show it and explain it, because you guys, what I also love about this, not only the flavors that she has in it and the, essential oils, just all the healthy ingredients, it makes your lips so soft and just like, nice. But I love the gradation and the design of it, because there's a theme through it, and it just flows. It's so exquisite and beautiful. If you guys have never checked out her site, it's in the description down below. SabaliPure.com. That's SABALI pure.com. But go ahead, explain the 4 and show each one.
So yeah, as I said, I was brainstorming. I thought about the season. So we've got the spring here, and the cherries and lychee actually do come to season in the spring. Hence, they are part of the flavor for spring. Then we gradate down into the fall. And I wanted to really show how our seasons morph into each other. Just
Well,
like
from
the
spring, we
cycles
don't
of
go to fall,
life.
we go to summer, right?
Yeah, spring to summer. Did I say fall? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
But
it's okay.
spring to summer, and they morph into each other. And so as I was working with the graphic designer who was helping me take what was in my brain and put it here, I was like, okay, we've got to have everything gradating through. And it's interesting because, so then you go to your summer, and that was my fresh fruit, because everybody loves like watermelons and cantaloupes and honeydews and all that, which are inside the flavor for those. And I mixed
Explain
that
to
with
them, though. I
lime.
want you to explain to them. You can kind of like almost, when you put it on your mouth, you could almost taste the seasonal flavors, right?
Well, you
That's
can, because for a few reasons. First off, I do use the organic flavors, right? So there's nothing synthetic in these, but
so
I
good.
pair them with the essential oils, and our nose is actually really responsible for a lot of our scent. I mean, a lot of our taste. So what we smell, we can taste oftentimes. So that's where, even though I do not have any sweetness in these lip balms, because in order for us to put the sweetness, you've got to put like a saccharin or some other synthetic sweetener, which is actually not good for us. So I stayed away from that. Yeah, so absolutely you can. And then the next thing down, so as I gradate into here, we're getting into fall. And so that is the pomegranate mint green tea. And then you gradate down,
And that's
and
very refreshing. I like that one a lot.
I like all of them, but I love that one. And then I decided to make for winter cinnamon chai lattes. I was just thinking of that warm, wonderful hot drink for the winter. And if you look at this yellow actually gradates down and would come right back around to here. So it kind of goes through the whole thing, because
Well,
everything
conceptually,
does
it's
flow.
brilliant and it's so creative. And I can
Mhm.
remember when you were like coming up with this concept, it was
Yeah.
like, you guys, what was so beautiful, she was like at the living room table and she was just working for hours and hours. And then she just was like, "Oh, baby, I got it." And she was so excited and her
Mhm.
face lights up. And I was
Mhm.
just like, what? And she was telling me in the seasons, and I was like, "That's incredible, babe."
Well,
And she's like, "But
it
guess
was
what I'm gonna do with the labels?" And you just, oh my God, I love it.
it was a really wonderful time, because it was, again, getting back to that artistic. I had gone to art school, and then later on I went to school for fashion, and then I worked in high-end fashion in San Francisco. I worked in the couture salon, and I was dealing with the highest. I mean, couture is a whole other beast, and so I did that. And this was an opportunity for me to get back in. And in my mind, I said, okay, I used to manage a couture salon at Saks Fifth Avenue, and I want to create a line that is beautiful enough that if I was going to take my client from up in the couture salon and walk her down to well, I would probably have the items brought up to my client,
Yeah.
but I would what would was something that I know if she saw the packaging, she would like it. And so that's kind of what really inspired me as well. Was I believe that anything that's worth doing, it's worth doing with beauty and grace. And so that's really how I have always attacked every kind of design thing that I've done. Even with my last brand, one of my favorite things is when people would walk up to our table, and at that time we had over 30 products, and I with that particular line, I created colors, and each one of these colors represented a different division of the line. So we had the teal, which was the body products. We had the purple, which was our hair products. The orange, which was our sun related products, although we didn't build that portion of the line out as much. And we had the green, which was our facial products. And I love
They
the
were
fact that
all
people
amazing.
walk up and they'll be like, "Wait a minute, is this an MLM?" And I'm like, "No." Like, "Wait, you made all this?" "Yes, I made all of this." "What?"
Yeah, no,
And
people didn't actually believe her at times, you
no,
guys,
they
and I would
didn't.
see it, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, she designed all of this."
But
It
I
was
believe like this, if I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna show up high end and I can do it. And I feel like this, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's just a question of a little bit more focus and discipline. And we can do anything. Like I'm gonna keep it real. It's the end of Black History Month. And I am like, I am Black girl fabulous. And I'm gonna show up and nobody's gonna tell me that I can't show up the way that I want to show up.
That's
Period.
right.
Boom.
So, okay, so I wanna backtrack because I think it's very fascinating, and to see your visuals to come to fruition and manifest, but really taking it back, before Eric and
Mhm.
Alana, who was 10-year-old Alana, and could she have imagined all that you do now, but even being the mother of 4 sons and
Mhm.
designing your own business? Like, what was going on in your head at 10 years old?
Okay. So first off, y'all know he always asks this question to everybody. And even though I hear him ask it all the time, I mean that's a hard question just to even think about. So 10-year-old Alana, I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be accepted. You know what I mean? I At that point in my life, we moved so much, and like we were at a time where we were consistently moving like every single year. And so my mother being Caucasian and me being biracial, she was always moving me into white community, so I was always a little bit different than everybody. And so it was like I just wanted to be liked and I wanted to be just like accepted. And so it was like this, "Hi, I'm here, will you be my friend?" And so um absolutely, I always wanted to be accepted by people. So maybe to a certain extent, people liking my products and people um, liking the things that I say and taking time to listen to me, that's from that little girl who was seeking that approval. And I'm really thankful that I've been able to grow into the woman that I am. In terms of the kids, oh my gosh. I'm hearing feedback for some weird reason. But in terms of the kids, I always thought I'd be one and done. I was an only child. And so to me, I was like, there's no need for any more than one kid. Who needs to have more than one kid? More than one kid is expensive. Who the heck needs that expense? And
Oh my god, that is so funny, and you guys have seen her mother on the podcast, and, knowing my mother-in-law, I could just see, Alana sort of parroting that, like, "Yeah, one you only need 1 kid," and just, that's really, really, really funny. So,
absolutely,
have you, but even at that age, were you always someone that loved writing, and did you kind of create and pretend and you play in your own head, in your own world?
Yeah, so I always loved writing. I loved writing stories, and I started doing poetry even in that young space. My grandmother wrote what she called limericks. So she always wrote little poems and left them around when I was a little girl. So I grew up with her doing that a lot. And definitely, I was always creative. I loved my mother. My mother was an artist. So I grew up around painting and crafts and knitting and everything colorful. So I grew up with a lot of that vision in front of me. And my mother she always says she's not very good, but my mom can actually draw and paint and do different things. So I was like,
Very
hey, I'm going to
talented,
do it
yeah.
too. Yeah, and I remember at one point, she had like she was always doing little shows here and little things like that, and she and I would sing in the car, and just all sorts of different creative ways of expressing ourselves. I think we didn't have a lot of money, so we were creative. And that's the way it all worked out.
I,
um
I, I love that. So let's get back to the chat and see if anybody has any questions or comments. But then I want to kind of talk, beyond the lip balms, I want to find out what are the other products that you made, and then what is maybe potentially new in the product line on the horizon. But let's see
Okay.
who's in the chat.
So let me see now. We've got Chocolate 29. Eric, you are such a wonderful husband. Yes, he is. Your interviews with your sons and your wife, you shower them with so much adoration. Yes, you know what? I got to tell you, I am so incredibly blessed, but I also need to say something. I'm blessed because I went through a first husband who was a 180 of the man that you guys see here. And so I know what it is to not be loved. And I know what it is to go through a whole host of very horrible things. So when I got out of that first situation, I set particular standards. And one of them was my son was with me. If you can't accept my son like he's your blood, it doesn't matter what I think about you. There's no future for us. And I just really, you know what I did, honestly? I saw this woman talk about how she had written this list. And so I said, well, if she can do it, I'm going to do it. So I wrote this list out of all the attributes that I wanted in a husband. And I put it in my Bible and I closed it up. And I basically, I always had my practice of getting up and meditating and praying and reading and doing different things. And I actually didn't look at the list after maybe first week or whatever it was. And all of a sudden, he showed up. I would say it was maybe within 6 months to a year or something. I don't know. It wasn't so long, but it came. And so my point in sharing that is our minds are absolutely powerful.
Yes.
And when we put out what we want and we live walking toward that goal, it works.
And ironically, I was doing my list of 25 character traits, which is what I have in my relationship coaching program now. And I would meditate on the list and pray on it each week, cutting off 5 attributes, getting down to the 5, and letting God know that if you can send me a woman with just these 5 traits, then I will be fulfilled and in gratitude and be willing to accept her as my wife. And what happens when you can make these declarations, right, and kind of cut off and purge and release, but get to a pure place in your heart, God will bless you with way more than your 5. You know what I mean? And that is exactly what happened. So I always do that with my clients, and it's super beneficial. But it's what my wife and I were actually doing around the same time that we really manifested each other. And I think that that's really powerful.
I need to say our friend C is here.
What
and
up,
he
C?
is one of, I have 13 siblings.
Whoa.
C, hats off to your mom.
Yeah. Strong J to C's mother.
Yes. But like I was a total opposite. It was so quiet in my house and I was always alone. Always alone. So I couldn't imagine. Like, even when I got married and I moved in with Eric and I moved in and his mom was there, and all of a sudden we went from having just me and my son, who he was quiet because he was by himself and I was quiet, to now being in this environment where we had the TV on a lot because his mom was watching a lot of TV and stuff like that. It was so loud. I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine 13. Like, you must have been able to really focus and like hone and just block out people, but also would have been so much fun to have like people to talk to and people to look out for you. And I always wanted like someone to like be able to be friends with.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of cool for us because I grew up just with, I have 2 sisters, but one half sister that, passed away. But I just grew up with one sister. But being 5 years apart, I felt like a lot of times I was an only child. But I always had a lot of friends, and I did have my cousins that I would be with in the summer. But one thing I will say for Allana and I, we both also kind of enjoy like our 4 sons when they're together, just watching them play and interact and talk. It's really beautiful, but it's a lot of fun. Like I crack up just seeing the men and the young men that they become and how they interact with one another. I find it fascinating. So it's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I'll even say, even when we got married, I was like, I even said to somebody, well, I was always only going to have one child, but I guess I'll have another kid because, I got to have a baby with this one. I mean, I'm getting married to him. We've got to have a baby together. So I was like, I guess I'm going to have two.
Oh, that
And-
was already on the paperwork for you.
But I mean, and mind you, I was all in to have, there wasn't any reservation on that at
No, no,
all. But
we
it was
talked
funny
about
because I was like, well, I guess but you have to understand my entire life, my plan had been, I'm
right,
going to
right.
have one child.
But I will
And
say to the audience, it's something that we spoke about. We talked about everything. And the first two conversations were both about 3.5 hours long.
mhm,
And
yeah,
we left no stone uncovered and really talked about every subject. It was the building of a real serious and mature love. Hence, I got Saturn in the seventh house in Taurus, and she's the Taurus rising. So,
right.
what was like sort of the birthing of the second product for Sabali Pure? Because I love the lip balms, but then what was the next brainchild?
So the next brainchild was the deodorants. And it's funny because a lot of with my last line, I made a lot of these organic products. And so this is where my ego comes in. I got to be real with you. I was like, I'm not only going to just remake what my last line made, I'm going to make it better. So I was like, how can I make it even cooler? How can I make it this, that, and next? So I added some different ingredients. I upped the protection level on the deodorant, and I did these different things. And the deodorant came in. And for most people by now, they might be or know that my mother-in-law had breast cancer, metastasized, traveled to the brain. So one of the inspirations here was to figure out something that, again, what is something that maybe she could have used and possibly it would have helped her not to go down the road of having cancer. I am a firm believer in the fact that we have got to limit our toxins. I mean, it's hard there's no way for us to be 100% perfect because if we're breathing chemicals, sadly, but we can do different things to detox ourselves. We can make different choices. Like even this, you guys have seen this. This is our chlorophyll water right here. And this helps to detox and balance the gut. So they're
Yeah.
just little
I
things to
finished
help
mine
us.
already.
Hmm. But anyway, so this was the second product. And as I began looking at this particular thing, I don't, I went from the seasons and I was like, well, what days, the cycle of the day? And I just was like, in my mind, I was seeing the sun rising and setting and the moon coming up. And I was just seeing that cycle. And before you knew it, I was like, oh, wow, okay. I am going to create something with the daybreak, which ends up being, and see, my husband's gonna be upset with me because I should have had all stuff. So that's the this one. So that's the sunrise coming up over, and then the sunset when
Whoa,
everybody
whoa,
sees that.
but slow down. What are the
Yeah.
flavor? What's in it? With the flavors, tell
Oh,
them.
so this is the lavender lemongrass,
And that's
and
the
this,
sunrise.
yes, and this is the sunrise of the set. And so this is actually the body oil, which did not come until a bit later. However, it was in my mind when I was creating this. So I started out with the lavender lemongrass, and then we move into the sandalwood rose. And as I said, I was going to elevate things. So to have real rose oil and to have real sandalwood oil, for those of you who know,
Very
essential
pricey.
oils, you know that these are very high end oils. And I'm going to have that in there because the thing that I love about working with essential oils is it's goes beyond the scent to the health aspects of things. So as I was creating this, lemongrass is very uplifting and invigorating. So I was imagining somebody using this in the morning. And I've played with wanting to have soaps to help people. Like this body oil is wonderful and it can wake you up, but that lemongrass is very uplifting. So I was seeing somebody in the shower getting ready in the morning kind of thing. And that's where the morning came in. And then the sandalwood is very grounding and calming,
Yeah, I
and
love both of
so is
them.
the
Oh my God.
rose, and it's a very peaceful and it's a very angelic scent. Both of those things, I really think of. You, I- well, quite honestly, I think of the ascended masters like Jesus, and I think of Yeshua, and the different uh, masters of that nature, and how Mother Mary is known to be associated with the fragrance of rose. So that really brought that in. And so invigorating, which you can see up here, and then grounding, which you can see here. I was like, how do we get that full cycle? And then I wanted to ensure that we remembered the men, because so often men are not thought about in this particular space, yet I'm surrounded by men.
Yeah.
Some of my most favorite people in the entire world
And
are
just
men.
so you know, you guys, my
Mhm.
nose was the driver of these lines and products and the palettes, because
Oh,
after my wife got COVID for the first and then second time, she lost her sense of smell. Now, even
yeah.
I almost died, my sense of smell never went away.
It is so wild. So like this is the men's version, and I even, added the men here instead
And
of
that's the
saying
citrus
Taurus.
cedarwood, right?
Yeah, so it's cedar with citrus. So this has bergamot and oh my gosh, like isn't that terrible? I'm like going, what does this have in here? But it has the bergamot, it has the ginger, the grapefruit, the cedarwood. So I pick the fragrances, like a lot of those fragrances that I mentioned are antibacterial, and that's going to be really important for controlling your odor. But then it's also antioxidant, so it stays fresher longer. And yes, Taria just said we were creating together, and it was really interesting.
And the
It
ladies
really
can
was.
use the
I had
cedar
no
citrus.
sense. I had no sense of smell for, oh gosh,
That
over a
was a
year.
long
It
time.
seemed like.
But tell them the ladies also like the cedar, the citrus, or the cedar.
They
How do you say
do the
cedar
cedar with
citrus or
citrus.
citrus cedarwood?
It's cedar with citrus, and
Cedarwood
so
citrus, yeah.
it's a very clean
Very
fragrance.
pure.
And
Yeah, I
so
love it. Yeah.
I call it men, but it's a scent.
Yeah.
So it's not, but going back to it, it was a lot of fun because I really had to trust him 100% because I couldn't smell anything. I knew what things conceptually should smell like. So I would come back into my
And my nose is
laboratory,
actually
and
better than most humans.
his
It's
nose
kind
is
of
always
crazy.
better.
Yeah.
But like, and I would, put in this and that, and I would do it at these different levels that I would think would work. And I'd be like, babe, how does this smell? How does this smell? And then once he approved of something, then I would take that out to other people and go, you like this, like this? Yeah, 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 yeah. You know what I mean? And so it was really, really wonderful because, just backing it up a bit, my last businesses broke up in early 2021, and I got my business license for Sabali in July, mid June. I want to say mid June
Of
um,
2021.
of 2021,
And then
and
we got hit with
then
the Delta in August.
we got hit with, yeah. So it was like I was starting to do everything, but then we got Delta really bad. That's when he ended up in the hospital and all of that whole journey. So it was like I started this idea, but then I had to put everything on hold for, I don't know, about a year, I would say. It was quite some time.
It was a while.
Um,
It was a while. So
yeah.
you want to check
And
check
so, yeah,
in.
people are asking about this. Thank you, Taria. I love her. She's fabulous. She's answering. I can't, I can read the chat, but because I'm not in there with Eric, I can't type it in. But it is Sabali, SABALI, pure, PURE.com. That's
Yeah,
the
but it's
website.
you guys, it's down in the description and anybody
And
can type it in there. SabaliPure.com is the
just so
website.
you know, on another note, this sticker right here, Black woman owned. This is one of the icons that is on the packages. And the reason why I'm sharing it is that in honor of Black History Month, I just finally made these stickers. I'm really big on branding. So when I do different things, I've got like the full thing. So if you order from me, you're going to get a gratitude bag that's going to have some crystals, and you're going to get some little samples of stuff, and you'll get stickers. But this Black woman owned sticker was something that when I was making these, I knew all the lines tend to have their little icons, their vegan icon, their, whatever it is that's important to them, cruelty free, whatever. So I've got all that stuff. But I was like, I am going to have Black woman owned. And at the time, William, our son, who is now 15, he must have been, so 2021, that was 4 years ago. So he was 11. And I always like to find ways to have my kids help if they can. And he's a really good artist. And I said, make me some logos. And so I made him sit and he made this. And I was like, I need this. And so he helped make this. So this is like the female symbol with the earrings and everything and the Black woman. But if you right now order
Just
this
typed it in the
sticker,
chat.
which is $1, I can't type it in the chat because I don't have
I
the
just typed it in the chat.
Oh, you did? Okay. So if you order this sticker for $1, which William created, you will get 15% off of your order. Okay. So that's just in honor of Black History Month. And today's the last day. However, I said we can't end a sale on a Friday. So that sale will go on until Monday. But
and every month is really Black History Month.
Yes, it is.
Right.
And so
anyway,
okay, so that's how
we talked about the lip balms and the deodorants, but I want you to get into the hair, face, and body oil. I love it for my face and skin. It gets so smooth. I love it for my hair. It's hydrating, and my scalp. But I also love to just put it, my legs, my arms. So what did you think about in terms of creating an oil that could be safe for all of those, these are different skin and body parts and different energies and oils and sweats. How did you do that?
Okay. So yeah, first off, I'm sorry, little text message from one of the mom from where the boys are right now. They're wanting to have the sleepover at our house. I'm a little bit iffy on that just because we're still getting over being sick. Anyways, whatever. Let's get focused on this question. I love the oil. Okay, so one of my pet peeves is when people, one, call themselves natural and have items in them that, in my opinion, really aren't very natural. That's how I even got into formulating in the first place.
Right.
And it frustrates me. But then the other thing is when you have access to these amazing botanical oils and you get real boring with it and you get real and you cheap out, as I like to say, I'm just going to keep it real. There are really great oils that'll be $50-$60 for these bottles of oil, but they're made with sunflower. Like, what? Do you know how many amazing oils there are out there and you're just using sunflower seed oil, but you're throwing a couple extracts in there?
But educate the people, right? Because even just for me, I'm your husband, so I kind of know. But what's so bad about sunflower oil?
And here's the thing, there's nothing inherently bad about sunflower oil, but it's a very basic oil. And when you're using it, as everybody knows, when you are reading an ingredient list, the first ingredient is the most prevalent and on down the line. Now, you have to be very aware when you get into the chemicals and the preservatives and the different things of that nature, it doesn't have to be high up on the list to have a high up on the list effect on your body. You know what I mean? Preservatives and these different things are some of and the synthetics and the scents and the this and that. They are some of the most problematic, which are why we have so many autoimmune diseases, but they're also down at the bottom of the list. So you have to be able to read those. But when it came to the time for me to make my oil, I knew you want to have a balance. So as you read through the ingredients on my things, you're going to see oils that are fast absorbing, because you don't want an oil that's so heavy that when you put it on, it takes so long for it to absorb into your skin that everywhere you touch and sit, there's grease everywhere. But then
that would clog the pores as well, correct?
And it clog the pores and all of that. Now, all of my oils are either non or very low comedogenic. And I've formulated them in such a way that this is safe to put on your skin and it won't clog your pores. Then you have to make sure that you're doing a good mix of your your heavier oils that are going to take longer and going to be richer and going to heal your skin more. So, for instance, the very first oil in this is a shea butter oil. Everybody thinks of shea butter, but this is a shea oil. It's very rich. It's high in vitamins A and vitamins D and the oleic acids and that sort of thing, right? The next oil, and that's a a slower absorbing oil. The next
Okay.
oil is grapeseed, which is also high in a lot of different nutrients and very antioxidant, but it's a faster oil. So it absorbs more quickly. So it balances that. So you're going to get that rich feel, but you're not going to have that greasy residue. The next thing I have in there is rice bran. Now, mind you, all of these are organic. That's my other pet peeve is it's like, they want to give you like a deodorant, but it's not organic. So you're absorbing the pesticides that were used to cultivate the ingredients. Well, that's kind of counterproductive. So these oils are all organic that I'm saying. Let's see. My next oil is jojoba. Jojoba is a wonderful oil. It mimics your sebum of your skin, and it allows for whatever you put in that oil to be readily absorbed into your skin. So when you're
Oh, wow.
putting a healing oil in there and you're pairing it with something like jojoba, you're allowing your body to better absorb it, which is going to help it be more healing and more natural. And I learned that through.
Can I say something to that
Mhm.
that I love that you created? Because you guys, Alana and I have been doing the detox, and we'll announce. We're not starting March 1st, but we're going to probably start maybe next weekend or the end of this week or something. But we've been doing the detox since December, and then one week or so each month this year. But in the process of doing that, I went through. I guess I was like, excreting out toxins, and I went through a patch where I had extremely dry skin. And then I started to use one of her oils. I think it was the rose sandalwood. I can't remember. But I was using the oil, and she also makes, she doesn't sell the lotion for you guys, but she makes lotion for the family. But between those two, but especially the oil, um, the dryness of the skin dissipated pretty quickly. And it just felt so good on my hair, my face, my body. I had it all over my shoulders because the skin was dry, around the shoulders and the back of the shoulder blade. And her products, they were just so yummy and refreshing, and literally got rid of my dry skin. So,
Right.
but I want to just say the astrology real quick. But this is her Venus and Jupiter in Aquarius in the 10th house. So Venus and Aquarius in the 10th house is literally like making organic vegan body skincare for mainly more so women. But for people, and it being organic and vegan, that's the Venus and Aquarius. And the Jupiter, these are her beliefs and philosophies. What also makes her the CEO boss, and doing all that she does, and we're going to segue into it soon when we finish talking about our products in terms of mentoring and teaching and her spiritual branding business. Alana's got the Mars in Capricorn, which is exalted. A lot of people with that placement need to have their own business. So if you have it, that could be something you feel internally. She's got the North Node in Capricorn in the 9th house, and she has the midheaven there. So she is literally supposed to be teaching through her business, which she does with reading the ingredient list, right? And whole ingredients. And that's a
Mhm.
big part of your business, right? Is educating the consumer.
Absolutely, because there's a huge difference between just saying something is natural and then knowing that something is whole or virgin or unprocessed or lesser processed. There's different things that go into this. And so you have to almost become a detective, especially nowadays, because everything has become about corporate dollar, right? And the way that you make a really margin friendly product typically is going to be something that once you make it, it can sit on the shelf for years. And the ingredients that
A lot of
initially
chemicals and fillers in it, right?
started out are going to be of lesser quality, or they're going to be mixed in with more preservatives and different things to help that shelf life, right? And so my products, in all honesty, really they lessen the life of a product, but they are the best things to be had. Like if you get a piece of fruit, or you get something, like even for example, bread from the store, okay? There are so many breads that you can buy at the store, and they can sit on your shelf for a couple months, literally, and they won't go bad. And then you have other breads that are going to mold, right? You want the thing that's going to mold. You want the apple that's going to rot on your counter if you don't eat it in a week, because that shows that it's natural. And that's the same thing with this stuff. But anyways, what I love about this product is that, I'm able to really mix in, and I was able to do a lot of research to make sure where they are in the chronogenic scale and whatnot, and balance it in the slow and fast acting. And so it was really important to me for me to make a product that was multi-purpose, so this is good for your hair because I've got oils in there that have different properties that are healing for the hair. It's good for your face because it's not going to clog the pores. It's good for your skin because it's going to really absorb in, but also not leave a greasy residue when you sit down in your car or you sit on a couch or whatever. I don't know. I have this vision. Do you guys ever remember there was this movie back in the day where it might have been one of those Keenan Ivory Wayans type movies where they had, or was it Friday or whatever, where the guys had like the Jerry curl solution in their hair, and they sat
I
on
was
the couch.
Coming to America.
Oh, was that what it was? And then they all got up and it
Yeah,
left like this trail with
that's
everybody.
Soul Glow. That's your Soul Glow. That's Coming to
Well,
America. Yeah.
basically, I said, I'm going to make an oil that's going to be really good, but it's not going to do that. And that was my motivation. I was like, we cannot leave behind greasy residue
Oh
on
my God,
anything.
that is
Yes, that's the way
hilarious.
that's a little peek into the way that my mind works, because that was my motivator. I will not have any Jerry juice left anywhere
So,
from this.
okay, that is so freaking funny. But we're gonna get back to you guys in the chat in a second. But before we go to your tooth powder, explain to people how important it is for them and to start their children off using the trace mineral deodorant, and what may be, and it depends on your climate and the season, but explain the transition period that they may experience when adapting to your deodorant that is so pure. Just take them through that.
So first, for the children, you know what, guys? A lot
So
we all
important.
started with chemicals and we didn't know any better. But now we're knowing better. For our kids, we want to start them without the chemicals from jump, because it's going to give them a better beginning. One thing that I feel lucky for is that I was born in 1973, and so the chemicals were coming, but they were nowhere near what they were starting mid 80s, 90s, when everything, like, I kind of put everything with it. Was it pre TV dinner or post TV dinner? As soon as we started having all of those preservatives and stuff and all that stuff, it not only was in the food, it was in the products by then. And so we got a really better foundation. These kids are coming into a space where they are being bombarded with the chemicals from day one. So we
Everywhere they
have
go.
to make good choices for them. And especially when your child's hormonal system is developing, you
Puberty.
do
Yep.
not want to, you don't want to, oh gosh,
Start them off with
influence
toxins.
that you don't want to influence that process,
Yeah.
and so forth. So that's for the kids. Definitely start them there, whether it be the deodorant. And we are seeing, like, little girls didn't need deodorant at 9 years old. They need it now more because of all the chemicals in the foods and whatnot. Um, so that's really, really super important. And then the tooth powder, as we know, we've got the fluorides. And actually, if you look at a lot of the like Colgates and these different things, those ingredients are almost all for marketing purposes, besides the fluoride, which is a neurotoxin, which is totally not good for you. And it's almost, I don't want to get into all why I think they put fluoride in our stuff, but I think basically they do it for nefarious reasons.
Oh, of course, but it does affect the third eye, the pineal gland.
Exactly. Like, But then the rest of the things that are in toothpaste are all white, and it's psychologically supposed to give you the thought that this is clean, this is good, but so many of the ingredients have no value. So
And
for
some of them have
example,
dish soap, correct?
yes, so that is the sodium lauryl sulfite, which is in dish soap, but also in toothpaste and other different soaps and whatnot. But there's no value in almost all of the ingredients that are in toothpaste. So you've got a little bit. You have certain abrasives that are good for removing the plaque, but the rest of it is just stuff for psychological reasons and fillers, right? So when I started formulating this, I wanted every single ingredient in here to have a purpose. So when I put the turmeric in here, that is good for anti-inflammatory for your gums. And it also is a whitener for your teeth. Go figure, something yellow whitens your teeth, but it does. Oh, I love you, Taria. She's sitting up here answering people, and I haven't gotten to look at this. When I put the neem, the organic neem, that is one of the most highly antibacterial ingredients ever, and it's detoxifying for the mouth. When I put the charcoal in, again, that's for detoxifying the mouth, and it also adds a little bit of that abrasiveness to help remove plaque. When I put the organic xylitol, that is actually nature's fluoride, and what it does is it creates a biofilm that makes it hard for the tooth for the plaque to readhere, and it cleans them out. So every single one of these ingredients in here has a reason. Calcium carbonate is a remineralizer. Diatomaceous is a remineralizer that also pulls heavy metals. Every single ingredient has a purpose, and that's what I love about nature, because we can go to nature, which was God's medicine cabinet initially for us, and we can create products that are designed to heal. Right. Well, let's take a look. I feel like we are kind of
No, we're
ignoring.
gonna get you get to the chat, but I just want to say this real quick, and you can read over and start reading. But you guys, her tooth powder is so good; it literally takes away morning breath. And if you are really disciplined about flossing and you use her tooth powder, you don't even need to go to the dentist. And I'm dead serious.
You have to floss. Okay,
You gotta
listen.
floss though.
I have a 3-step healthy mouth kit, and it includes the floss, the tongue scraper, and the tooth powder for a
You should
reason.
order that tonight on SabaliPure. It is so
And
awesome, you
it's
guys.
actually like, I think it's like $25 or something, but you
It's a
get
steal.
a tooth powder, you get a tongue scraper, you get
And that tooth
the
powder lasts
dental
for a
floss.
long time, right?
It lasts about a month. It lasts a month. I don't want to say a lot. It lasts a month, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how much you use it. And I can show you how to use it and whatnot. But, Gloria Wallace said that she really believes in writing down. And yes, it's, she talks about the subconscious and the writing. And what we are doing is we're programming our subconscious. But what we're also doing is we call in what we focus on, right? Our lives are like a magnet, and what we focus on, we bring. So, and it's sad. I mean, I'm thinking about my grandmother, and one of the things my grandmother used to always say is, I never want to die of a stroke. I never want to die of a stroke. I can remember her saying that when I was a little girl. I never want to die of a stroke. Flash forward, what does my grandmother end up dying of is a stroke. And now, understanding things a little bit differently, I go, wow, she called that stroke into her life because of her mouth. Our words have power. What we write, Gloria, like you said, has power. We are programming our brain.
We're
So
co-creating the universe that exists around
and
us.
we have that power. Like, we are all amazing co-creators of life and of energy and of everything, right? So we have to always keep that in front of us. I'm kind of going over here. I normally read everybody's stuff, and oh, that's super dope that Will helped. Yes, it was so much fun that he helped create all of it, all of the
No,
icons.
we were very proud of him. All of
packages.
the icons she has, our son did it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he made the vegan. Let me see if I can show it to you here. Where's the camera at? Oh my God, where are we at? I don't know. It's there, but he made the
Yeah, a little bit
vegan,
lower down. A little bit lower.
the
That's good.
the cruelty free. This one's gluten free, and then preservative free. He drew all of these, and I wanted to have something to where years later, when he looks at these packages, he can be like, I was 11 years old and I made those. Like that's something that's always going to be his. And I just thought it was cool to be able to do that for him. And yes, I love the sticker too. That was actually the first one that I made. I was like, we're going to have some Black woman owned up in here. And again, pick one up now, $1. And by doing that, you save 15% off the rest of your order. Let me see. And yes, it was Coming to America. See, I love him. C knows the music. He knows the movies. He knows like all the stuff. Thank you. And I
He is
love
my
you. Thank
guy,
you so much.
man.
Yes. Let's see. What is the shelf life on your deodorant? You know, this deodorant will last about 1.5 to 2 years total from the time that I pour to the time that it works. It'll even last beyond that, but the scent does begin to dissipate because it is natural
It is
and
natural, yeah.
it
But
will
it's
begin
so
to
good, you
dissipate.
guys. And to be honest with you, I
The
remember the
lip balms have a
transition.
longer shelf life.
But
I'm
I'll say
sorry, say
this,
that
I
again?
remember I did the transition during the summer, which is hard because it's very hot in Arizona. But I had maybe 2 weeks where, my body had to
Oh,
adjust with the toxins and everything. But after that, yeah, sometimes I'd have to reapply like midday. But that was only for like a week or so. And yeah, you have to get used to sometimes your underarm being a little wet, but I'd rather my underarm sometimes get a little wet than me potentially clog pores or get cancer or other autoimmune diseases that you can get using these other deodorants. And Alana will tell you some of these other companies like Native and all these other ones that say
oh,
that they're
wow.
natural, you got to read their ingredient list. It's fugazi. Her stuff is so much better because she is intentional about what she puts in her products. Okay.
I told you 7:30. Hold on, please, boys. I cannot give you an answer right now. Thank you. I'm sorry. Listen. He can come for now, and we'll see what happens. But we are sick. We are getting over being sick, and I.
Okay. Boys, leave your mother alone.
Oh my goodness. You see how this is? This is like number 2. And I told them that I was going to be doing this until this. I told them, but anyways, I told them don't
It's
come
real
before
life, and this is our
7:30.
family.
But
So,
anyways, this is our life. But I wanted to talk really quick because I heard you talking about the detox process. That is super important. What you have to understand is when people talk about the fact that the deodorants, natural deodorants don't work, it's because your body is detoxing and toxins smell. Period, point blank, is simple. Toxins smell. You've got to get them out of your body. And when you are trying to transition to a natural deodorant, every time you stop, go back to something that's going to hold the toxins in your body. And then you start that process over again. So it takes anywhere from a low of like maybe 5 days up to as much as 21 days, depending on how much toxins you have in your body that you're needing to purge out, right?
yeah.
But it's super, super important. And once you,
And it's
again,
well
get
worth it,
past that,
you guys.
it is. It totally is.
Your
It's
health,
so
your
worth it.
body, your pits, your everything. But let me say this as a man, though, for the fellas and ladies, listen up for
Wellness.
your husbands and your sons. What makes the difference is when we are willing as guys to
Mm,
properly trim our underarm hair, because that can hold the smell and odor in. So
yeah.
once I realized, and then I started to, trim down and really get it low, the underarm hair. Not like I was crazy, hairy, and like Bushman, because I'm a very well groomed gentleman. But when I did that, the smell, boom, gone.
Right. So I mean
For
that's the key right there is
real.
that level of grooming. It really does help with the odor. Um, so yeah, I saw a girl use toothpaste to get rid of the dark under her arms on TikTok. It blew my mind. You know, it's possible for sure. What I find from the underarms, I do an charcoal paste to help pull that out, and I find that that works really well, and that's what I typically recommend. I'll
Yeah.
use
She's
also
got a
the
lot of great tips, you guys.
heavy metal puller to help get that out because typically what that dark is it is different heavy metal builds ups and different toxin buildups. Let's see, what else do we have here? Do you use a toothpaste with? Yes. So what you do with the tooth powder is a couple things. I either put it on the palm of my hand and I shake the this one has a shaker, it has it sealed, but I shake this into my hand and I take the toothbrush and I dampen it a little bit and I put I put a little bit of, tap the excess water and I rub my toothbrush into the palm of my hand to get up the
Or you
powder.
could tap the tooth powder into a little bowl and then put your toothbrush into the bowl as well. I mean, there's many ways
Yeah,
to
so
do
those
it,
are
but
the two ways that I do it.
it's so good.
This is really great for travel. And what I'll do when I'm like if I'm taking this, I'm traveling and I don't have the sticker anymore, I'll take either like a cotton ball or some tissue and wad it right there and it holds it so it doesn't make a mess in your bag. Because it's really good for traveling. But it's just really
All
good
her
for your
products are
mouth.
amazing, but the tooth powder, it's such a game changer. There's times when I'm brushing my teeth, you guys. Number one, it tastes great, but two, I hear the it's like squeaky clean. For real.
I
I
have
love
some
it.
videos that show it, but I'm gonna actually make some new ones and I'll get those up over the weekend
So, hold
that
on.
show.
That's a perfect segue. Before we get back to the chat, and I want to start to talk about your spiritual, high frequency entrepreneur and the spiritual branding stuff. Tell everybody where they can find you online, your website, Instagram, YouTube, everything.
So SabaliPure is it. So website www.sabalipure.com. IG SabaliPure, YouTube SabaliPure, everywhere SabaliPure.
And you're
My
on
cash
TikTok,
app
right?
SabaliPure. What?
You're also on TikTok, correct?
I am. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not a very big social media person, but everything is Sabali Pure. That's one of the things that even when people are working with me with branding, as I talk about the fact that your goal should be to streamline your names. I see a lot of people out there and they have one name for their YouTube, one name for their IG, one.
Yeah, that's not how you
No,
want to
like
do
if
it.
you're trying to build a brand, even if that brand is just you don't want to have different names for everything. You want people to know who you are and why they're following you.
And
Um,
wherever you're at, you want it to be the same name. Yeah.
exactly. So we've got Maddie's Eyes here. It's good. It's so good. I was using it more than 3 times a day. I just wanted to eat it. I know it's
Oh,
not
thank
good.
you.
LOL. You know what? Here's the thing though. There's nothing wrong with eating the tooth powder. If you did want to eat it, there's nothing in it. It's
It's food
benign.
grade, right?
My last tooth polish with my last brand was made with coconut oil and it was yellow, and I used to have people who would literally eat it. Like one of my clients came home and she's like, I came home and my mom had a spoon with your tooth polish and she was eating it. And so yeah, like it's cool when you're using food grade things.
Yeah.
Let's see, I saw a girl use toothpaste okay, we
You already
read
read
that
that.
already. um Yes, and that's the thing is when I don't use water. So I'll let Unique Understanding said that those are good shelf life. So I don't use water. And
That's
because I
key.
don't use water, I don't have to use the preservatives. The preservatives are going to be some of the most problematic again with things. So I purposely formulate without water. What that also means is water is a really cheap filler. People need to understand that. A lot of your products, when you see water up at the top, they've used it because it's a cheap filler. It makes the product more cost effective for them. And it also means that you're going to have
More preservatives,
preservatives
right?
in there. And not all preservatives are equal. So when I did use preservatives in my former brand, I used natural based preservatives, but there are preservatives that really go like they run the gamut. Like not all preservatives are equal. Trust me. See, he's talking about manscaping. Yes, but you know what? If you
No,
can,
manscaping, it's important. See, we
it's
gotta
really
we gotta
important. Like,
take
let
care
me
of
tell you
ourselves.
something. For the men, regardless of whatever you do, nobody wants like crazy stuff all over the place. Manscape. It's a lovely thing to do. It's also your diet. Yes, you're absolutely true. When you eat better, your body detoxes less, and after you've gone through your detox, You don't have to detox again, but you will really notice at that point in time, ooh, like, is my body smelling? What did I eat? And you can usually track back to what you ate or something that will tell you that. The dental floss is amazing. Thank you so much, Maddie. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
And yeah, the dental floss is coated in coconut oil and flavored with peppermint oil. And I had 2 versions of it. So the gray is actually the charcoal, and the black is actually the coffee. So the charcoal is antibacterial and whitening and helping for removing the bacteria that way and whiten the teeth. Whereas the black is the coffee, and that is so cool because it's the negative ions of the coffee attract the positive ions of the plaque, and so it helps to really remove your plaque very, very well. And what I also love about that is that the floss itself for the coffee is actually made from coffee grounds. So it is something that is reusing something that would just be thrown in the landfill. And it's making this, and it does also mean that it is biodegradable. Both of these are biodegradable.
and your
The
products, so your packaging is
Yeah.
recyclable and also
Yeah, so the packaging is compostable.
compostable. That's
Um,
what I'm
it's
trying to remember. Yeah.
compostable, so, like, this, you can actually take it apart. You take the painted part off, you peel it apart. I have a video that shows you how to do that. The painted part can go in the recycling, the other part can go into your compost pile, and it will break down. The,
That is so
dental
brilliant. That is
flosses are
so
in
Venus Aquarius of you. I love it.
The dental flosses are in these cute little containers. So you can buy the full container, or you can buy just the refill, or a set with the glass and a few refills all at one time. And so these are refillable. They're glass and they're really wonderful. The bottles, obviously, there's no label, because one of the things that happen that people don't realize is when you have a bottle and it has a glass label on it, a lot of times they cannot recycle that because they can't get that paper off. So I went and I had these printed. So now it's printed. It is what it is. It's still recyclable. And the only thing that's plastic, obviously, is the top and the pump.
Yeah.
But you can refill this bottle. You can do whatever. In time, one of my visions is to have a refill station where you could go and somebody can refill the oil and whatnot. That'll
I
happen
love
in
that.
time when I
So
grow
we'll
the.
get back to the chat in a second, but I think it's important because I want to explain to people, anyone on the chat that is looking to form or start or rebrand or build your business, you're looking for an S Corp, LLC, but you're looking for a logo and branding. Well, she's got a business degree, but she helped with this beautiful thing right here, Biggie Astrology, SabaliPure, Q24, Quench Naturel. She's worked with, 2 other women, helping them to a psychic and someone that does meditation to build their stuff. So tell everybody about your spiritual branding business and how people can reach out to you and the process of how you help people.
Well, for me, this is like so fun because I get to be creative in a different way. And I love helping people have the opportunity to take something that's in their mind and that they're passionate about and create something tangible from it. So whether you are somebody that has a product, obviously I have a lot of background and can help you do that. I've got contacts and different people. I know how to deal with the glass manufacturers, the plastic manufacturers, the paper manufacturers. I've done bamboo and different accessories and whatnot. I know how to do all of that, and that's a lot of fun, and build out things like that. But even if you are just, and when I say just, I don't mean to degrade it, but even if you're just somebody who does services, or you're just do meditations, or you
We're
do whatever,
selling t-shirts.
yeah, you want to have a cohesive brand. That is the most important thing. But what I'm going to tell you right now is, when you're developing your brand, first and foremost, you want to stop, slow down. I tell people, do not run out and start buying this and that. Don't do Take some time and write out, what are you passionate about? What is your brand about? What are you planning on making? Who is your ideal person? What is the story behind it? And I want you to get as creative as you can around that. And I work with people to bring out, what is that vision? Because if you don't know what that vision is, you're going to more than likely end up wasting some money, because you're going to run off and do this. And then you're going to realize, oh, I didn't really want to do that. Then you're going to run off and do something like that. Or what you're going to have are pieces that might be great, but are disjointed and don't tell a cohesive story. We are humans. We like things that make sense. So that's the first thing that I tell people is, you want this to make sense. And the very first person that it has to make sense to is you. Because you can sell a story that makes sense to you. Bottom line.
And don't
Then,
you ask them, what is your why?
well, absolutely. So why are you doing this? Like, so for me, it started with, there was a lot that went into it, but it started with taking care of sick people and realizing that something was making them sick. Then it was like, I'm wanting to express myself and do something for other people than me. So I brought that aspect of female empowerment and getting back to stuff that you're passionate and you love into my brands as I created. And then, I'm like, oh, I love, like, one of the things I love about working with nature is every time I find a new type of ingredient or something, I can potentially introduce it. Let's do some research. Let's bring that in. Let's do that. I mean, right now I'm very excited because I'm in the very early phases of exploring getting into the cannabis space. I have been approached by some people who are in that space, and I have the opportunity, and I may be able to tap into a lot of dispensaries. So it's going to be something that can be extremely lucrative. But one of the reasons why they even want to deal with me is they've seen my packaging and they're like, oh my gosh. And see, that's where I try and help people to get and understand is, you want to have that door open for you before they even see your face. They just saw my packaging and they were like, what the heck is that stuff? That looks amazing. That would go over so well. We know that our clients will love that. And so it's like, the door is almost open for me. So now all I have to do is come up with, so I have a few different ideas of some different formulas that I'm going to be presenting, and it'll take time, because one thing I will say is, when you get into designing and doing packaging on the level that I do, there is obviously higher costs involved. But with my other lines, I started with plastic, because I didn't have that money. Not that I have a ton of money now, but the other line, I was able to have 30 products. This, I have only, what do I have, like 4 products or something like that, because in terms of production,
Right.
even though I have more in my mind, every time I roll out a product, I'm looking at a few $1,000s just for packaging. So I can't
But
go
tell
too
them, in
crazy.
terms of the the design, it has also opened doors for you to be in high-end places like in Tucson, right? You were
Right.
in Marival, right? Tell them about
Yeah, no,
Marival.
I was able to have my line in Marival, which was an amazing, amazing feat. They are one of the top spas in the country. It's beautiful and aligns with everything beautiful and refined the way that I love it, and spiritual and whatnot. I mean, I tell people, I'm like, you can't even walk into their facility without having a reservation. There is a gate at the door. You need to be on the list. And just to walk in the door, if you're not obvious, if you don't not getting a room, you have to pay a day fee, and their day fees are like $300 just to walk in the door. That's no food with that, no nothing,
And a
just
room is like isn't it like 1,500 or something?
1,200 a night. Yeah. So, and
They
their
carried
spa is
your products, so
amazing.
that's
It's phenomenal. And yeah, so when I had a friend who went down there, and she was like, I saw your stuff. She didn't know that I was in there. She's like, I saw your stuff. And I was like, oh my God, that's my girlfriend. I was like, yeah, isn't that awesome? You know what I mean? And it was the packaging, but and here's the thing, you have to have a really good presentation, which the packaging is, but it also has to have the right ingredients. So
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to get into that kind of space, while they're not even as high as I am in terms of my commitment to purity, they're really good. But if I had like a package like this that was full of all kinds of crap, I would not have
Yeah, they wouldn't want it.
in there.
But people like, Deepak Chopra and Oprah
Deepak
Winfrey go
Chopra
there, a bunch of people. Yeah.
and Oprah, those are like the big names that are affiliated with this particular space and different things. And it is some of the best. So I've been really blessed, and that was a really amazing thing to get in there. So I'm excited about that.
So why don't you let people know, how can they email you if let's say they are like, you know what, I want to start my jewelry line, or I
Mhm.
make, some type of coffee, or I make, tarot cards, but they want to get their logo and branding and start to talk to you about like really bringing it and creating something beautiful. How do they reach out to you?
So, to be honest with you, right now, the best way to reach me is either directly in my email, and I'm just at a Gmail account right now, guys. It's a long story. Me and Google had a little breakup, and I got rid of my I used to have a at SabaliPure Face and Body, and basically it's a long story, but I don't have that now. But
That's all right.
Allana Taylor 378 ALLANATAYLOR 378 at gmail.com. You can also reach me at Instagram. You can hit me through that DM. You
Yeah,
can hit up
Sabali
this
Pure.
guy sitting right here, Biggie, and say, hey, send this to your wife. He'll send it to me. He's
Yeah.
Eric at BigE Astrology. So, he passes me my mail. Sometimes I have him working for me.
Well, listen. It is Pisces season, so we got to remind everybody, Eric at BigEAstrology.com for the Pisces birth chart sale, which goes to March 19th. Pisces Sun Moon Risings 165 and 246. And you want to jump on it, Pisces, because next year and starting in, the astrological new year, Aries season, we go from 65 minutes to 90 minutes. So that means it will go from 200 to 250, and the sale will be even for all 12 signs, $206, 90 minutes via Zoom. You get more time to ask all your questions and just, a little extra nuggets in terms of all the spiritual homework I give. But Pisces, it's still at 165, so definitely reach out and book. And I'll be this week announcing the coffee talks, which will be March 15th and March 21st. And we're going to be looking at the Mercury retrograde, the Virgo lunar eclipse, and then the Aries partial solar eclipse. And tomorrow, you guys, this connects to her with Venus. Venus retrograde begins March 1st to April 11th. So just slow down, be introspective about your self-worth, values, devotions, arts, culture, entertainment, love language, food, fashion, and your relationships. It's not time to
So,
start new things. Unless you're
absolutely.
getting some Sabali because it's new,
Exactly.
pure, and healthy.
And we started this sale already. So, we started it before the retrograde, so we can continue.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
so thank you to everybody who's saying that you want to order. If you have any questions, please feel free. There's something in there where you can send a question through the site. You can also ask questions through
Yeah, her
IG.
site is
The email
beautiful as well,
that
you
I gave
guys.
you. So any place like that, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I really try to walk you through this because for me, this is one, I'm so proud anytime somebody uses my stuff, but I genuinely believe that this lifestyle shift is so incredibly important. And I get excited when people make that transition. Um, so anything like that, please reach out, let me know.
But
Let me
also,
see.
I want them to be encouraged because just with those planetary alignments, you guys, of having the Mars, midheaven, and North Node and Capricorn, ninth house, that lets you know she is that guide, teacher, and mentor to help you to establish your business right? Mars Capricorn is the CEO, but also that North Node there too in Capricorn, right? Which does
Yeah.
connect to my
And
Capricorn moon. But go ahead.
in relation to the branding stuff, after we get everything situated, and it's a lot of work I mean, a lot of written work, and a lot of, whether you like to do vision boards or you like to do bubble writing, there's all kinds of different exercises that we can do, but it is a lot of visioning. And sometimes what you have to do is then you have to come up with who is your target customer. And this is always a tricky one, because I'm going to want you to say, no, 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 you can't. Like, I want anybody who does this. No, you can't serve everybody. The reality is you cannot serve everybody. You have to target certain people. You're going
Yeah.
to always pick up the fringe people around them. You're going to pick up other people that you're going to resonate with that you might not even think about, but you have to target one group of people the way that you are really passionate for. Because if I tried to make this line for everybody, I would miss everybody. And so
And don't
making
you
it
also tell your clients, I think this is brilliant how you do this. You will tell them to go to the paint store and to get the paint chips of the colors that they
right.
may be interested
Well,
in, right?
what I do is, after we start to nail that down, one of the field trips I tell people to go on is go to your Home Depot, your Lowe's, wherever it is, and get those paint chips and start visioning the look of your line. That's a fun way to start figuring out how, because I'm really big into color, clearly. I mean, as you can see, even my former line, I had bold colors in that. This continues with bold colors. But regardless of what is that you're going to do, color is always important, and it evokes a feeling for whatever it is that you're doing. But even before you get so bogged down in colors, I tell people you have to also check the name, guys. It is so important, and it's such an easy thing to do. Like, back in the day when my mom would start businesses, because she kind of had these little side hustle jobs or businesses that she would start out. I remember having to go down to the county offices with her, and we would have to look through books for the names of the businesses in the state. And you would look to see, has somebody taken this name, that name? Oh, well, this is a really close name, and this, that. We can do that in a matter of minutes through just Googling or getting on Instagram and
And if
searching.
somebody already has the name or something similar, find something else.
Figure out. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, you want to. You either find something else, but you have to also make sure, like, are they in your space at all? Like,
Yeah.
if I was looking at doing a body care line and I had seen another line called Sabali, I would have to think on it. Like, so my last business was Quench Naturel. We initially wanted to name it Quench. We found that there was a water company that had similar look, and we're going for like a natural thing, and we decided to add that naturel in just to make it more a little bit different. And I have since seen other people hop into that space with the name Quench. So you just really, and I can help you with making those decisions and what's best. The next thing that
You're
I
really
always
gifted at it. Yeah.
recommend, and if you're listening, go and get your website and get several versions of it. If you're thinking that you might change the name or you might do this or that, get several versions of your website. It's like anywhere from $12 to $20 to get an URL for each URL, but it is well worth an
Those
investment.
domain names. Yeah. That's important.
It'll give you time to breathe on these different names. And if you have to let it go, I mean, if you wasted $12, shoot, we've all wasted $12 on a bad lunch. So we can, if it ends
Or
up
over expensive coffee.
yeah, oh God, like, so if you happen to waste the money on getting an Earl that you don't use, oh well, chalk it up to an investment in your future. You know what I mean? So these are the different things that I help people get into and feel. And then I'm always like, where do you see this going? Like, as you're doing your logo, especially, I talk to people about, think about reproducing this. Think about the way that the mind works. Like, so if you look at my logos, I always have something that is very visually eye-catching and easy to see. So like this S is very powerful in the Sabali. Even if they can't make out the whole thing, they're going to see just this design And over time it goes, oh yeah, that's that line that woman does. But then the backup thing, which I use, is my tree. And it just, people remember it. And then when they actually go and they look at it, and I go, yeah, look at that real close. Do you see the woman's head in there? What? I said, do you see her arms? Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then I get into the story about how, yeah, this is a continuous line drawing. It's one line. My graphic designer, who this is a level of artistry that is not me. She used one line. She started drawing this tree, and she drew the whole tree with never picking up her pen.
It was
And
beautiful.
it is a woman in here, and it's got the legs and the arms and the face and the, you know what I mean? And so it's everything that I wanted to talk about, because what do trees do? They pick those nutrients up from the soil. Okay. And so she came to my house for a branding session, and I was talking to her about the African desert and that safari and those trees. And at the time, I didn't even realize those acacia trees. And I was like, yeah, you know, those trees. And I started like Googling, I'm like, these trees, oh my gosh, you know, and I was like, this is what I'm looking for. And so we had this whole session. I'm like, and I could just see the sun coming down and all of these things. So the very first thing that we created was
That's that
actually
Mercury Pisces.
right here. And you can just see that African safari kind of sunset, right? Or sunrise, or whatever you wanted to envision it. And truth be told, I used this as my inspiration. And this was a painting that I made when I was like 19 years old, because I love these colors. And for anybody, if anybody could tell me, see, do you know what this is? Because you are like the movie buff. Okay. But this was the Jungle Fever, Spike Lee's Jungle Fever. This was, if you remember that poster for the movies, this was it. And I recreated this with the hands, because being biracial, that was something that this just meant a lot to me. It was real. But anyways,
That's awesome.
and
So
if you look at my colors for, where is it? For my lip balms, basically you can see where each of these colors kind of come in this painting. And who knew? Like, I painted this when I was 19, 20 years old, and here it is
no, it's incredible.
re-envisioned. So
But
it's
this
a lot of
shows
fun.
your artistry and your creativity
Mhm.
that we see with the you know, the Pisces Mercury, and even being a Taurus risings. You know, it not just makes you a great chef and great cook, but you know, I always joke about that. You know, Leo fourth house. You know, it really, you know, there's this level of, even for you getting into Marival, there's this regal queen energy that you carry yourself with, that you have, and that even, you know, you bring into the home. And I like how you have intentionality with every aspect of your logo and your design, and that's what she can put in for you guys and helping you branding your business. And what's so great, you get the combo platter, because after you create these things with her, I can do the business birth chart and tell you
Mhm.
when to file for your LLC or your S corp, or to make it official, the business, based on the business birth chart. Or if you've already started the business and you're rebranding, I can help you based on the birth time to kind of reevaluate the business. I've actually helped many brands with their businesses to, you know, change their sales, advertising, marketing, mission statement, business plan, employees, pitfalls, business partnerships, everything. So yeah, you definitely want to reach out to, you know, Allana Taylor 378 at gmail.com, book a business birth chart, but she will hook you up with the branding, logos, all of it. She's good. And it's not just because I married her. She's good all on her own, you guys. So I really
Yeah.
thank you for that. So
If
before we
it's
close
something
out,
that you
though,
want to do, let's figure out, and we can start that whole process. And think of it as fun. That's what it is. You are
oh, it is.
creating your baby, and unlike real babies, you get to pick the color of the hair, you get to pick the eye color, you get to pick every
Well, that
last.
may not be too far away, lady.
Yeah, well, no, we're not getting into all that transhumanism stuff. We
I know, I know. So let's get back to the chat before we close everything
um
out. And and
so
please, you guys go follow her on YouTube. Get her some more subscribers.
I need to get that number up over there, but this
And
goes back
IG
to,
and
as I
TikTok.
said,
Go subscribe.
we need to give ourselves grace as women because I can only do so much. And I don't have the time between, trying to take care of these kids, as you can see, and all these different things that sometimes I don't do the social media falls off for me. I'm just going to keep it real with you. I wish I had somebody who could help me do the social media and stay up all the time on it. You know what I mean? Like and to be honest with you, that's not my forte. I can make really cool like IG videos and stuff, but it's I don't like doing it all the time. And I see people telling me it sounds beautiful and they love it and the blessings and I thank you so very much. And Mama Miss says she's a Venus and an Aquarius and a Pisces Mercury too. So
Oh,
just like
see?
so we're twinsies. We are astrological twinsies. Right on, girlfriend. Um so that's very cool. I wish I knew what that was. He'd have to tell me what that means, Mama
Well,
Missed.
wait. You know the Venus Aquarius is that Alana always loves to meet some very unique and
Yes,
weird,
that's the
bizarre
weirdness, right?
girlfriends, female friends. And
I
Venus
want some
Aquarius
good
is organic
girlfriends.
vegan body skincare. It really is. Like it's very health conscious.
Mhm,
And Venus is your fashion, your makeup, your clothing sensibility. And Aquarius is always going to be unique, bizarre, innovative, and futuristic. The fact that
mm.
your packaging
Okay,
is
that's right.
compostable,
I do know that.
yeah,
Mhm,
your packaging being compostable is very innovative and futuristic. Some may say
right.
rebellious. That's Venus Aquarius.
Well, I really believe that we gotta get this plastic thing under control, like, guys, we're breathing plastic. Did you know that they have found babies born and there's plastic
Ugh.
actually in like, they were talking about even in little
The
babies, like, there's
microplastics, yeah,
plastic
that just
in
happened recently, yeah.
babies. Like, guys, no, we're headed the wrong way, which is why when I was making this, even though it's expensive and whatnot, I was like, I've got to get down to as little plastic as I can. Again, my vision is to one day be able to have you bring your bottles and refill it, and so that we won't even have to have all the glass, like, refill the bottles and do it that way. We've got to begin thinking about how can I leave as little trace, like, we wanna leave only beautiful things in our wake, but the trash is not beautiful, and so we want to leave as little trace as possible when it comes to, like, that leftover stuff. I've even tried to get away from, like, the fast fashion and whatnot because I saw, like, oh my god, have you guys there's this documentary on Netflix called Buy Now or Buy This or something, and they were talking about fast fashion and Shein and all these things where people just will get like this whole like haul of
The
clothes
low
for like
vibrational
50
clothing,
bucks
yeah.
and you've got 17 pieces of clothes. But it all gets shipped over, or a big huge portion of it gets shipped to this African country. I can't remember it right now, but like let's say that the country has 1 million people, they get 6 million pieces of clothes every year. Or maybe even every month. It's like huge and they can't even keep up with it, and like their beaches are being like just stacked with like clothes because they get washed up in the water and the this and that, and you're just going, "Oh my god, we've got to take a step back and say, do I need it?" Like, I let go of my Amazon and I was scared. Like I was like, I'm serious. I was like, I kept saying that I'm coming up on it. I don't think I'm gonna renew Amazon this year, babe. I think I'm gonna stop. And it was like actually really hard for me to do. And you know what's happened in this past month? Nothing. I'm still living. Guess
And I
what?
hope
I
you guys
still have
all
all the
took
crap
part
I need.
in the boycott today. Did everybody take
Yes,
part in the
y'all all
boycott?
boycott because we haven't bought a darn
We didn't
thing.
buy nothing today. We didn't spend any money. And, we got to show up and show out for these things. It has nothing to do with, Democrat, Republican. It is about the American citizens trying to show big business and the one percenters that our dollar, our voice, and what you charge us, it matters to us. And you guys
Right.
have got to be maniacal, intentional about this. Okay.
So
It's
I have to
bigger than
address.
any party. It's about our wallets and how we get resourced. We basically, the American worker and our tax dollars, we pay for the whole world, and it's silliness. We have to stop.
Yeah,
We
we
have to
do,
stop.
guys. And it's consumerism. Like I went the other day and I picked up at Home Goods. The cashier even said to me, she goes, "Is this all you have?" I picked up a pizza cutter and a spatula because my pizza cutter actually wasn't sharp anymore and it wasn't cutting. And then the spatula, I can't remember. Something happened. I
We
did
just
something
needed
to
a
it.
new one. Yeah.
I needed a new one. And I was like, "Yeah, this is all I needed." And she's like, "Wow." She goes, "This is it?" I'm like, "That's all I needed." I am getting very disciplined and not wasting money or time, but I started thinking about this documentary and all this trash that they show, and I was like, I'm not being a part of that particular thing. But I did want to address Mama Miss. She talks about eczema. Here's the thing about eczema. Eczema is almost always first and foremost a
And
gut
gut
related response. So what we experience on our skin is a outward
reflection.
reflection of what is going on in our gut. So you want to address that first and foremost. In the meantime, what you want to do is to have um, blends of oils and butters that are natural, that can you want things that are going to penetrate your skin, but then you also want other things that are going to create that bacteria barrier, meaning a barrier that stops the bacteria or the different environmental toxins from getting in there. Coconut oil is very good for laying on top of the skin and creating that barrier, but it is not good for using solely on its own, because what it ends up doing is it clogs the pores and holds things in,
Yeah.
right?
Big,
Um,
big time. Yeah.
and so you want to use a balance of these different things. I used to make a whipped butter, and I said we, going back to what we did for years with my line that people loved. I also am about to, in time, I'm
Well,
going to
that's what
start
I want to
making
ask you. What's
healing
coming
balms
next for
again.
SabaliPure?
And my next product that I think I'm going to be making, well, I am looking at I'm looking at some things for the THC world. But on the non-THC world, non-CBD world, I am looking at doing some healing balms because that was one of our most
Best products.
popular um,
Tell them,
products,
tell
and it
them what
really
it
does
can
need
do.
to
The
come
heal,
back.
her healing
What?
balm, you guys. Cuts, scars, arthritis, bumps, bruises, dry skin, achy muscle. I mean, tell them some testimonials and stories about it and
So,
your
you
plans with
know,
it.
what I tell people is I use botanicals at therapeutic levels. So a lot of times what you're going to see is these products will say to you, "Oh, we've got lavender, or we've got whatever other herb they say they have in there," but they use it at such minuscule um, amounts that it doesn't really do anything. When I get into making a healing balm, I use it at a therapeutic level. So if I'm using peppermint because I want to help you with that pain response, I'm going to use enough that you feel it. If I'm using CBD is another one of those things. You would see people making CBD and you hear people say, it didn't really do anything. And as I was formulating back in the day with CBD, what I was realizing is if I make a product that has a limited amount of CBD in it, it's not going to do a lot for you. So I have to put it at a therapeutic level for it to have that impact. But if you layer different natural ingredients, your lavender has healing properties, your helichrysum has healing properties, your sea buckthorn has these healing properties, your eucalyptus. Herbs have so many different properties, and you can stack and layer them, and that's what I did. And so we had created a bar called the Everything Bar, and it healed skin issues. I had a ton of people who used it for their eczema, Mama Miss. It healed cuts and bruises and burns. It healed people who had like aches and pains. Like I had this one guy, I was at this show, and this man, he walked up, he's like, I'll see what's about it. You think your stuff really works? I'm like, well, I've been told that it works. And so I gave him a hunk of it, and he rubbed it all over his knees, and he left. And about maybe 45 minutes later, he came back and he was like, what's in that stuff? What do you? And I was like, oh my God, what did you have an allergic reaction? I'm like, I'm not responsible for allergic reaction. I'm sorry, But he goes, my knees no longer hurt. And this is the first time in years. He goes, I'm a tennis player. I've been doing all this stuff. And he's like, my knees are always hurt. I'm just always in pain. What did you put in there? I'm like, it's natural. It's nature. It's God's medicine in these things. So,
and
it
you
all
also
is
had, I remember
all
you
in
had
how
a
you
bartender
choose to
or a
formulate.
waitress, right? That used
Excuse me?
to put it on her feet.
Yes, I've had people put it on their feet. And what I love too, I even had people who, because our stuff was natural, they would buy it for their animals. So I had people who would get it for their dogs and they would be able to use it. And so it was stuff that wasn't going to hurt their animals. Not everything is like that. So like my tooth powder, for example, do not use my tooth powder on your dogs, because dogs and xylitol are not friends. Um, I had a woman who used our healing balm on her horses, and I was just always tickled by that, because I said, this is what using nature's
Nature.
medicine
Yeah.
does, because it's really made for every human,
Living
every
organism.
living thing that is on this earth was made to be healed this way. But then we kind of got bought into this thing where if a company makes it and a big conglomerate makes it and they market it, we call it like better, but it's not. All those things are kind of based on the natural stuff. It's not cannabis based. I am potentially going to bring a healing balm into the cannabis space, but I also believe that we need to have something that doesn't have that, because some people don't want that, and I have to respect that, right? But there, for the people who are open to it, I will be having things for them as well. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I love your why and your purpose and your creative gifts with your business and all that. I do want to share, this has been a very powerful month for our family and Biggie Astrology in terms of Black History Month, and having
Mhm.
the intentionality of interviewing my wife and my four sons, but her being the mother of these four young men. I'm kind of curious. I know you still have to kind of sit down and watch all four of the interviews in
I
entirety,
do, but I
but
listened to you when you were filming them.
right. But I just want to kind of get your feel, like how proud you must be as a
Mhm.
mother of four Black men in this world, but just the love and the compliments that they get, not just from these podcasts, but when we're out and about, their friend's house, with teachers, with friends, coworkers, adults that they meet. Um, speak to that, as a Black woman and having four Black sons, and what it is that you and your amazing husband, put
Yeah,
into
he's
their
pretty
children,
amazing.
huh?
I said he's pretty amazing.
Well, but
So,
what is it that
it
you intentionally put in, because
really
you
long
this is
question. It's really, really long question. I don't even know where
sorry,
we are anymore.
had to
Um,
get to it.
anyways, so you know what? I take being a mom it's one of the most important jobs that I have. And I take it very seriously. And being able to know that I'm having an impact in molding the next generation is something that I'm super proud of. And I a lot of times will have people say, "Oh, well, your kids are so good, so you don't really understand it." And it's like, wait, let's get real here. My kids are great because I spend a lot of time pouring into them. My kids are great because I spend a lot of time maybe not doing things that Allana wants to do first and foremost, but doing things that I know my kids need. And I push them and I do
And
these
teaching
different
and
things.
disciplining.
I teach them and I discipline them. But then what is really wonderful is when I get those reminders of how good these kids are doing. So, there was this thing where a child that we knew has been being bullied since he was in kindergarten. He's now in 6th grade with our boys. And I got a phone call from that child's mother telling me that my son stood up for him when he was being bullied. And I was like, and she was in tears. And it just
Because
like
her son, after
laid
school, the
all
first
out.
thing he said to her was,
When he
Mateus,
got
stick up
into
for
the
me
car,
today.
yeah. First thing he said when he got in the car was, Mateus stood up for me. And it was the first time that had happened to this child since he was in kindergarten. And the mom was like, he is so happy. And I'm like, that's what it's about. And then today we actually had to go. We've been dealing with some school stuff. It's not all fun and roses sometimes. Not just,
Our kids weren't bad. Yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, it wasn't our kids who were bad. It was just stuff going on that we had to go to school and I had to get Mama Bear on the folks. That happens. Sometimes you got to get Mama Bear on the folks and let them know, listen, we ain't playing them games. Keep it straight. But there was a counselor in the meeting and she came up to, she said, your son did this and it was amazing. And I'm just like, I was so inspired. And I said, wow, you are amazing, Mateus. Look at how your heart. And I love stuff like that. My now 25-year-old, he was maybe 22, 21. And he sent me this long text out of the blue. And he just said, I know we didn't always see eye to eye. And sometimes we still don't. And I get frustrated with you because you tell me these different things, but I see and I understand now why you did. And you are an amazing mom and you help me to be disciplined and do what I need to do. So
He
thank
thanked us
you.
after he
And
became
even
an
when I
adult.
don't want to listen to you, like
Well, they
even
heard
when you say,
they may have heard him talk about it on the
oh, did he
podcast,
talk
right,
about
you guys?
that?
Elijah
I didn't
talked
know that.
about the
Oh, okay.
discipline and how we taught him and instilled him, and
Mhm.
he said he realized that he was more prepared than his peers because of what you and I would teach him and show him and discipline and guide him. You guys have to understand, when you spoil your children and you do everything for them, you are crippling them to function without you as adults. Stop doing it. And it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, middle class, black, white, Latino, it's wrong to do it. You're hurting them.
Mhm.
For real, you're just hurting them. They need to be able to do chores. There's a scientific study that chores show that children have more success, but they need to be able to cook, clean, mop, do dishes, take out the trash, make a bed, do laundry. I had a roommate in college. I had to teach him all these things because his mother and grandma didn't teach him anything.
Right.
Make a
And one
hamburger.
thing I wanna say on that, sometimes it's hard because there are times where you're just like, I've got it, I'll do it." And, because it's a lot easier to just do it yourself when you get in that mode, but we have to just slow down and teach them. But I'm looking at something here that Mama Miss was talking about in
Yeah.
relation to her gut and how she's trying to work on it, and she mentions that it's hard to avoid the sugars. You are 100% correct. It is a
Sugar's a
trap.
drug.
And like, first off, sugar is a drug. Believe it or not, it used to be listed in the medical book. I can't remember the name, the DSM or something. It used to be listed there as a drug. It has been removed from the book as being a drug, but that is because of revisionist history. Sugar is addictive. Sugar, when you take it out of your life, you get bitchy and whatever, the same way when you're detoxing from a drug. Sugar you'll get tired and you run out of energy. It does all the things that a drug does. And so, yeah, it's hard to get rid of those drugs and it's in absolutely everything, but it can be done. I will tell you, since Eric and I have been taking 1 week a month to detox, and we're about to start it here. Like, I think we might start on Sunday, you know,
Yeah, or
um,
early next week, something. We'll let everybody know.
Sunday
Yeah.
or Monday, we're going to start up our week of fasting. It gets easier and easier every time you do it. And I've actually gotten to a place where my body craves it. Like I've been saying to him, especially because of my birthday, I've been eating a lot more stuff. And I was like, I'm really feeling like I got to get on this fast. My body's feeling
I
a
look
little
forward
bit
to it. Yeah.
bogged down. And so you begin to feel that. And that's one of the really wonderful things is if you can discipline yourself and do a master cleanse for several days. And if you can get up to that 10-day stint, please try to. Um, you realize and you become very in tune in what your body needs and
Yeah.
try to listen to it, because I'm telling you, our bodies are amazing and they don't need as much as we think they do.
We all, especially in America, but in general, we all eat too much. And remember this, fruit is God's candy, and that's the natural sugar. You don't want the pastas and the processed and the cookies and the baked goods and stuff like that. And trust me, this one will tell you I love a cookie more than the next person, but that's the Venus on the ascendant. But I am very disciplined, and I'll just be like, hey, if we don't bring it in the house, we won't eat it. You know what I mean? But doing this fast, you feel so good that when you do crave food, you want a cucumber, you want an apple,
Mhm.
you want a pear, you want broccoli, you want whole foods, you want, avocado. And
Your
so
body begins to crave those better things. So through Maddie's eye says, I applaud you. I was the opposite. I was told that I handicap my children, blind single parent of 4 children, 2 fathers, hands off. Um, and I'm because
well, don't beat yourself up.
Maddie
Please don't
is
beat yourself up.
blind, and no, I don't think you handicap your children. I think that you show your children a level of compassion. When your children see you getting and doing, it teaches them a resilience. It teaches them compassion. It teaches them to, interact with the world in a
You said
way that,
Maddie's blind?
yeah, through Maddie's eyes. Maddie is actually blind. Yes. I've had this
Wow, God bless
conversation with
you.
her,
Wow,
and
Maddie.
you
Yeah, no,
know,
you're an
no, we
inspiration, Maddie.
absolutely are not, because, like, when we were
Yeah.
taking care of Eric's mom, she was in a wheelchair, she had dementia, she always was, she had brain tumor, so once it was removed, she became like my 5th child, and especially as the dementia came on more and more, she became more and more like a child, and then different things. But what she taught my children, because my children, all of them will tell you, grandma was so incredibly important to them, and
Yeah.
grandma taught
Watch
them
it on the
all.
podcast interviews. They all talk about her and her influence on their lives, and it's
She
more powerful.
taught she taught them compassion. She
Empathy,
taught them patience and
patience,
empathy. She taught them so much. So, no, you
perseverance.
are in no way a
Yeah,
handicap to them.
perseverance.
It is, like, absolutely necessary,
Yeah. No,
and
you
you are
you taught your
creating
children a lot, Maddie. So
beautiful
God bless
children
you.
and human.
Yeah, God bless you.
Um I have submitted my order. Oh, thank you so much. And I'm eagerly waiting the opportunity to sample your products. Yes, by all, thank you. I'm eager to share them with you. And again, any questions, I am happy to like help or answer or do whatever. Happy blessed birthday. Thank you. I feel so thankful for that. Yes, I'm pretty disciplined until my cycle gets right. Yes, girl, I know. And it is. But you know what's really interesting, I find, is that with the detoxing, I'm having less of those types of cravings. So it's very interesting. So it does shift, but it is hard. And if you can transition maybe more to fruit based sugar, meaning fresh fruit and different things, and get your sweetness that way, I
And you
think
could
that'll
get
be
the
a little
dates.
easier.
Dates is a natural
Dates
sugar too. Dates are
yeah.
great.
Like, even this water, this has the chlorophyll in it, and it has a slight mint, so it has a little bit of a sweet mint, so this is nice to do, you know? Mm. One of my girlfriends gave me this little dropper of this mushroom elixir. I'll look at it and I'll let you guys know what it is. But it's made with 4 different mushrooms, and you can pour it into, you put like a dropper or 2 of it into sparkling water. And the flavor she gave me was cream soda. So I'm curious to see how that works.
Oh wow.
Let's see. She's saying, Mama Miss is saying, elders really give younger people edge up. Absolutely. That's one of the things that we are disconnected in our world right now. And when you
Yeah.
look back at indigenous people and indigenous ways of life, they live with their elders. They got the stories from their elders, and knowledge was passed down. The
Yeah.
fact that we all don't understand these natural remedies is part of that
Disconnection.
breaking
Yeah.
of and disconnection from our roots. And it is designed to keep us under a level of control. If we were all healthy, if every last person on here was healthy and had everything good, think about how much more powerful we would be. Excuse me as I'm coughing.
And think
Think about
about like how
how much
little you would
harder it
have
would
the
be for them to
hospitals, the
control us if we
pharmaceuticals,
all had our stuff. I
all
do
the
make I
pharmacies.
do make a detox. Okay, cool deal. That's awesome.
Yeah, but all the
Um,
pharmacies, the hospitals, the pharmaceuticals, all the
mhm.
commercials with the medicines, that would all go away. Think about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have gone like a little
Yeah.
long.
Any
Thank you
last
guys for
comments or
hanging
questions
out
before
with
we
us.
go?
I appreciate
Any
it. Are there any questions? Is there anything that I need to answer? Anything I need to touch did not make clear? Please, before I
and I don't know
before
if there's
I
any
let
new
go.
people. If anybody did want to get a quick big three, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, anybody for a big three for my husband? He's real good at it.
If there's a
I eat
new
a lot of
anybody
food.
new,
I
only if
don't like
you know.
things that are too sweet, like dates and bananas. Okay, cool. That's, I mean, yeah, so then,
No, I find that dates and bananas are too sweet as well, but I'm just saying dates is a healthy supplement where you can get the sweets and dates are
thank
actually
you.
healthy for you.
Yeah. Now I've actually made a date paste, and then you can use that paste to sweeten other things and use it in replacement of sugar. So that's good.
Yeah.
I will share the detox again, and we will share the detox. So the detox is super, super easy. I do a 32-ounce bottle of water. I
Yeah.
do 3 ounces of pure maple syrup, 6 ounces of organic lemon juice. I fill that all in with water, and I do an eighth of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Shake it all up. He likes his super cold. I like mine like a little bit more at room temperature kind of thing. And I shake it up and I do it. Now, I will say for those people who are experiencing um, diabetic or pre-diabetic and things of that nature, please do some research. I've been meaning to look into it and share that with you, and I haven't. So you do want to look into that. Um,
Instead of the
People
organic
have
maple
asked about
syrup,
it
you
being
may do a natural
acidic.
honey or even I don't know, a date may work. I don't know.
Yeah, your body does convert. So even though it's a lot of lemon, it your body, I can't remember if it's your liver, your pancreas turns that alkaline. So that's okay.
But it
You
does
do
help with
need
the
to
gut health and inflammation and mucus out of the body. It's great, you guys.
mhm. You do want to make sure you're drinking water. Like that was
Yeah.
the big thing. Like I
Or else your
one of
teeth
the
will hurt.
cycles that we did, I was doing mostly the lemon juice and I wasn't drinking enough water, and I was finding that my teeth were hurting after a
Yeah.
couple of days, and I realized it was the acids out there. So do make sure that
You're
when you
drinking
do
a
the
ton of water.
detox, you've got water and you've got your detox mix made up, and you kind of are doing them interchangeably. Not only will this help you to be full, it will make sure that your teeth don't get sore.
And
Let's see.
really, day 3
Awesome.
can be the
Thank
hardest
you.
day.
Yes, thank you for coming, Ella, and you've been here from the beginning. Thank you, girl. I
Thank you, guys.
appreciate that.
But wait, I wanna say this,
And
that day 3
mhm,
can be the most challenging, but you really if you can get to at least 5 days or more, that's when you feel the magic of the shift in your body, and you
mhm,
will lose some weight. We didn't do it for that, but that was a side benefit, but we got rid of a lot of mucus and inflammation, and we really cleansed the gut, and we're sticking to it once a month, all 2025, you guys. With
mhm.
Pluto in Aquarius, you want to do something, a parasite cleanse, something. Try to do your
Mama
research.
Miss, sorry.
Go ahead.
Mama Miss mentioned that, she's not pre-diabetic and that she doesn't have the blood pressure issues. But one thing I will say in relation to that, this detox will tend to regulate your blood pressure, because I do have, when I went preeclamptic with the boys, and I got blood pressure issues, and I've never gotten it 100% under control. So I do have to monitor that. And I find that when I do the detox, it really helps. So for anybody like that, you will probably see your numbers level out if you
Yeah.
do the master cleanse for a prolonged period of time. And basically it's getting that inflammation out, and it's getting a lot of things cleared up. You know, Albert Earhart, he is the creator of the mucusless diet. He died in, I think, 1921-ish, 1970, somewhere in that time frame, very early on. And but you want to look at him, if you've seen, like, they have this Black woman who's 72 or maybe even older than that, and she's got this gorgeous bikini body, and she's a follower of that diet, and it has her really wonderful. So do check that out. It might be something interesting for you, and you can kind of do your own thing. Like, we have a friend who he does beef broth, or bone broth. I'm sorry, bone broth tea, and bone broth tea and water.
Water.
And he did like 7 days of his cleanse, and that's what he likes to do. So it works. So, there's different ways. Our bodies need that break from the heavy processing of food, and it
And the
really does
digestion
help.
of the food. Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
So this
So,
has
okay.
been more than fun. It has been an honor and a pleasure to have you on again as a guest. And I look forward to seeing the growth of SabaliPure, of your high frequency entrepreneur work, the spiritual branding business. And you guys, please reach out to her, because when I tell you, you see her products, when she's good, and she really, really knows how to help people hone in and focus on what they need to do to create their own business and follow their heart and dreams. And
Yeah.
and she's really gifted at it. So definitely reach out to her if it's something you're thinking. And then you get the bonus of me if you want to get that business birth chart as well. But go to SabaliPure on YouTube, IG, TikTok, and explore the website. But give her a follow. We got to
Please.
build up her YouTube, so go do that for me.
And you can
And
follow me on Instagram too, all the
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. No, Instagram and TikTok as well.
Um,
But we got to build up that
You'll
YouTube.
see stuff occasionally. I go in these spurts where I'll do stuff and then I don't do stuff.
Yeah,
But I'm here. I'm always around.
yeah. And the business is always open for business. So please support, but support yourself. Yes, you're
Yeah.
supporting us, but when you get these products, and especially if you guys got young kids, starting to get 10, 11, 12, and they're starting the hormones coming in, please start them off. I mean, immediately, especially at least with the tooth powder, that can be at 2 or 3. Our kids have been using it since they were young, even with her old business. And, we don't allow much candy, but with the school systems, they get it. But overall, they're doing pretty darn good with their teeth. And
They're doing pretty good. Mama Miss has a good question. She says, "What is my key spiritual practice?" And you know, I have now for more than 20 years. Gosh, when did I start this? In 2000, 99, 2000. I get up most mornings and I take some time, whether it's reading, meditating, uh, doing a cleansing protocol. And by that, I mean a spiritual cleansing protocol. I always take some time with God and quiet time. And I actually I didn't, and I guess when I say that, I've done it since 99, 2000.
but you used to get up
I
and read the
probably
Bible every
started it
morning.
even before then. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, but like as I said, it has it has changed and evolved. It used to be involving with me reading the Bible and praying, and sometimes it's that, and sometimes not. Lately, I have been getting up, and I spend that time, and I'm like, I need to move. So I just started doing, like, movement and toning and different things to
Stretching, right?
raise my vibration, right? But my point is, I always spend some time by myself. And what I have found over the many years, and even I can go back to when I was younger, is God will speak to me. I hear God audibly at times. I've seen God on some occasions, or Yeshua. Um, but I get messages that way. That happens to be my thing. Um, so I'm more of an audible hearer of the word or of spirit more so than a seer.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Did you
Mhm.
ever hear or get any visions or dreams when you were a little girl? Having the moon and Neptune in eighth house, and have you seen when people pass away or things like that?
I have always seen various types of spirits, but I don't think I necessarily called them that. Um, so yeah, it's interesting how I told myself things were not what they were.
Mm.
Um, because I didn't necessarily want people to think it was weird or whatever. So that's kind of my story there. But I
So you
think
were
taking
were you
that time,
almost hiding or burying or denying your spiritual gifts?
I don't, not intentionally. I think we just end up saying, "Oh, that's not what the norm is." You know what I mean? Like
Right.
fitting into a particular norm because I was a only child and because of just different things I went through in my life, I didn't want to be different.
Right.
And so I also had a very intense inner dialogue all the time. Like I'm like, "Oh my God, shut up." But but I had a really intense inner dialogue at all times. So um yeah. Clairvoyant, yes. That is probably yes, absolutely. Mercury Pisces in is an indication of spiritual communication. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Um, it changes, but the intention of connecting with source and God. Yes, absolutely. And see, that's the thing. And what we learn is that it's not typically about all of the ritualistic things that you must do. It's about the things that you want to do and the energy that's there. Do you think you channel? I have had various times where I have for sure.
Yeah. No, and I will tell you, being married to her, she's extremely intuitive and psychic. And sometimes it will come in different flows. But when she gets like a download or gets something or knows something or feels something,
Mm,
she's right. Like it's I've seen it in action, and we both seen it from each other, but like I'm
mm.
always amazed and I'm like, no, you're right, babe, you're right, like, and
Yeah.
it's the truth. Like she is uh definitely gifted, very intuitive, and
Mm,
but one thing I will tell you, and I've said this before, this woman is pure love. Me being loved by a Pisces woman and wife, and this woman,
mm,
um, she's taught me what true and real love is. I think I was a bit guarded being the Virgo and the Scorpio rising, even though I didn't know these other placements back in the day.
mhm.
That for me, I wasn't always so trusting to allow
Right.
myself to be completely open and vulnerable in relationships, and learning her, becoming best friends, soulmates, and being married almost 17 years. She has truly opened me up to really, I've always had an open heart chakra, but to be able to receive and give true unconditional love. And that's one thing I would say, and I thank you for that, being my wife and an amazing woman. And
Thank
it's something that I honor and treasure. And I just love,
you.
enjoying this ride with you. So I thank you for.
Yes, thank you guys. Really quick, through Maddie's eyes, I did go to Christian college and I do have a biblical studies, a minor in biblical studies. And yeah, so that's true. And thank you guys so
We see
very
that with her
much.
Sagittarius moon.
Yes, I do. I definitely appreciate your warmth. Uh, our
What is
warm
it?
care and forgiveness. Which one? Both of us or one? Anyways,
What happened?
thank
What'd you
you
say?
guys. Mama Miss was saying she appreciates your warmth and care and quirkiness. So I'm not sure if that's for me or him,
No,
but
that's for you. I'm not as quirky as you. I am pretty quirky though, but she's talking about you.
yeah.
This is all about you
So,
tonight. This was
oh, thank you,
all
thank you.
about
I'm
Allana Taylor.
yeah, I'm thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sharing.
I
Any
think we broke a
questions?
record, our
Out.
longest show ever.
Yes, it's really wow. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you. I
No,
hope you
no, no,
enjoyed it.
don't be sorry.
Um,
This is the perfect way for me to honor my family, Black History
uh,
Month, and to end with you, the love of my life. So there's nothing to
thank
be
you,
sorry
babe. I
about.
appreciate you.
I
And
I want to always, and I want you guys out there to watch this, you men in general, we have to lift up our women. I am always here to lift her up and to inspire
yeah.
her and to applaud her and to cheer her on in anything she does. I'm her biggest supporter, and
Uh,
I believe in her more than anybody on this planet does. And, she is extremely gifted, but her best gift, you guys, is her heart. She's
thank
got
you,
a
love.
pure heart. And so I'm in such gratitude, and I love you with all my heart. So this
Oh,
has
I
been
love you,
so.
babe. And you know what? We will talk one day through Maddie's eyes. That would be
Oh, I would
wonderful.
love to meet you, Matt, through Maddie's eyes. Yes,
Um,
that would be my honor and pleasure.
Thank you,
I'm legally
thank you,
blind, and
Toxic 29. I appreciate you too. And thank you again. You guys ever have any questions? I'm just an email or a call or a this or a that away. I'm always open to sharing. And like
go to
I would
SabaliPure.com, purchase your order, you guys.
yeah, and just sorry, but if you do pick up the sticker first, because if you put that in your cart, it'll take 15% off of your total thing. Shipping may seem high, but I promise you it's not. Like, I will send things priority mail, and I really do not profit off the shipping aspect of things. But and that's how I'm able to get it to you more quickly and whatnot. And if you order more than $89 worth of stuff, you get free shipping. So just something to think on. So you'll save
There you
15%
go.
and get free shipping if you do that. So
And all of the
thank
products are amazing. I couldn't even
You're
advise
really
you just to
wonderful.
pick one or the other. Get the tooth powder, get the deodorant, get the
I
lip
have a
balm,
kit. It's called the Healthy Mouth System, and you save a few dollars
and get the hair
by
oil.
bundling it. And
It's
so
good for the
you'll
skin,
get the
y'all.
toothpaste, the tooth powder, the tongue scraper. I talk about
Yeah,
why you want that, and
good
the
for the skin.
dental floss. And your Holy Spirit makes you radiate. Oh, thank you,
Oh,
my love. I
that's
don't
sweet.
have to see you to know. Oh God, you're so fabulous. Thank you, Miss Maddie.
Oh, God bless you. That's wonderful. But let me tell you, that oil is good. It's real good. Thank you, Allana Taylor.
Actually, I'm
Thank you for
super
being.
proud of the oil. Okay. Like, I'm going to tell you, it's the best oil you've had. I've been told by a lot of people they compare it to Osea, but this is better than Osea. Okay. It's good stuff. And it's
Oh
really,
yeah.
really good. I love you. I feel like we have kept you so incredibly long. And I thank you for being here. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Sabali Pure, Allana Taylor, episode 311 of My Knowledge is Love Astrology podcast. And this has been an amazing Black History Month. Please
It
go
has
back.
been. Thank you guys.
Please
We're
go back
all
and watch
together.
Elijah
Thank
Taylor,
you.
Will Truth, which is
My
William
baby.
Taylor, Jackson Taylor, and
Mhm.
Mateus Taylor. And please come back after we say goodbye. Just say thank you, or thanks Sabale, Allana, and just comment
Thank
to
you
allow
for
this
just
to
the love
grow.
that you send us. It
Yeah,
means so
to
much.
grow in
It
algorithms.
means so
And we
much for me.
appreciate you
Thank you.
guys. And we actually, just depending on how the weekend goes, we may come back either Sunday night or our new time. We found a new time. It is right now 2 p.m. Eastern, 12
On
p.m.
Tuesday.
on Tuesday Mountain Time. But we may, the shift daylight saving switches on March 9th. So that may take us to 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific, because we'll move to Pacific time. But either way, we'll see around that lunchtime hour, because when we did it, it was the Pisces new moon, but we did it and there was a lot of people there. So
Yes.
we'll let you know. We'll
Thank
either be back Sunday or Tuesday, but no, actually probably not Tuesday, because Tuesday
Baby, these people need to go to sleep.
I have Farrah Shea coming on. She is a female
Yes.
MC rapper who is so talented. She's a
Mhm.
lyricist. an artist, and she's going to do some live performances from, I think, from her closet. Okay, she's in LA. She's super talented. And then on Thursday, I have Kelly Rowland, astrologer and human design specialist. She's one of the best human design people I've ever met, live. Both of these women next week. So come back. And so, like I said, we may just see you either next Friday or even this Sunday. But
On
thank
the
you,
real,
guys.
we got amazing. We're going to continue to have amazing, spiritual, fabulous guests. We are so thankful to have him and share 'em